day. How y'all doing out there? This is Remembering How It Was. My sister and I have a podcast, and we're talking about how it was, and we just want to share some of my memories with you. And I am Justin Washington, and my sister is...
Wabui Bahati. I'm here in New York City, and my brother is in Greensboro, North Carolina, where we are from, where we were born. And so we're two of the four siblings from the Washingtons at 615 Julian Street.
Yeah, there you go.
So today we're going to talk, the topic that we chose for the day is televisions. Television. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm
going to go back. I'm going to go quick. And the television. Being the youngest, I never got a turn.
What do you mean you never got a turn?
You guys got to watch what you wanted to watch. I didn't get to watch.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I didn't get a turn, man. I was always like, we didn't vote, but I was just like, if we did vote, I probably wouldn't have counted because I was the youngest.
Yeah, we were bigger, we were louder, and we watched what we wanted to watch when we wanted to watch it, and you had to just deal with whatever it was. I would like to start off though by saying that television, when we were growing up, when I was growing up, you were growing up, 50s, 60s, was just a major center of entertainment because there were still a lot of places where we couldn't go, either because of finances or because of the times, the laws that were Jim Crow laws that were in place. But also, I just want to say before we even get started that the television also brought us some of the saddest times because we witnessed over and over. We saw that clip when our president in 1963, John F. Kennedy, was assassinated. We saw over and over again what happened to and heard about and saw the funeral of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on TV. And it was also because of TV, I believe, that we became known as the city that was heard around the world in terms of the civil rights movement. So because our four guys, I call them our four guys set in, but then other cities were able to see what we were doing. We were able to see what they were doing. And I believe it was because of TV that we were able to really feel and get a sense of what was really going on around the country at that time. So I just want to throw that in there before we get started. Yeah. So where you want to start, brother, with the television? Let's see.
With the television, I can go through some civil rights things that happened here in Greensboro, and I witnessed on television. Wasn't on the scene, but I witnessed on television. But I'm going to my fond memories was Roberta, our oldest sister, who I guess we didn't have. I can't say she had the remote, but she got to turn the channels first. But anyway,
yeah, we didn't have a remote. That's something to talk about. We didn't have. You had to actually get up and touch the TV.
Yeah. So I remember her TV show was. I was like I said, I had no charge. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. That's what I remember about Roberta. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. She was. That was it. That was like a hipster spy show or something like that, and she was into that.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember that because I remember always watching that.
I'm not trying to talk about our sister since she's not here to defend herself, but she had a love for TV that was almost unreal. She loved, and to this day still does, she loves television, and she could do her homework and watch TV. And if you asked her what was happening on TV, she could tell you that. But she would also tell you what she was doing in her homework. She had that brain where she was one of those people. In case people realize there's a jump here in the video, what happened is that I noticed that my brother's camera was something was happening where he wasn't very clear. So we wanted to get that fixed and then come back. So now we're back. And I just asked him if he had ghosts in his house, because I don't know what just happened there. Somebody blew a switch, pulled a switch or something. But we're back. Okay, so we had just finished talking about how much my sister loved TV, and you were commenting on something that related to that.
No, we were just talking about, you were saying how she could do her homework and television. She lived for television, but through television, she was managed to focus on her work. And she was just brilliant through the shows she watched. and the time frame that she was in Greensboro, man, I was so little, man. 'Cause the older sister and I, we had a 10 year difference.
10-year
So
difference. Mhm.
so she was definitely my supervisor in a lot of ways.
Well, she still has a love for television, and I live in her house here in Harlem, and the way we tell whether she's here or not is whether or not we hear the TV. If we don't hear the TV, we figure she's not here. But when she is here, we always can hear her TV going on. But okay, so that's something that's interesting too is let's to go back to like take in everything is the price of the TVs. I don't know how we had one
Man,
because when in the 50s the
man.
TVs were pretty expensive. It's kind of like how the computers were real expensive when they first came out, and then
Yeah,
over
yeah,
time they
yeah.
just went down, down, down. Well, the TVs were between 130 and $1,200, which
It
today that
depends
doesn't
because
sound like a lot,
it doesn't sound much.
but
It
that
doesn't
was a
sound like
lot.
much, but that was the dollars. But I'm going back to the TV in our house that I remember the most. Uh, Daddy had bought this TV that was set on a little roller stand. And it rolled.
Yeah.
It sat in the living room for a long time. It was a roller. Now I know that thing was good, and I remember putting somebody had the technology to put the foil on the antenna so we can get better coverage, and a lot of times I remember before that was I remember I was the antenna guy for a lot of things. I held the
you,
antenna.
you
So
know, because I remember the person, sometimes you put that foil on, and the minute you sit
yeah,
down, then you lose your
yeah,
connection again.
yeah,
So sometimes
yeah.
it had to be somebody actually standing there with the TV holding the foil on that antenna. And
I was voluntold. That was my
and you
voluntold job.
yeah, you were
Yeah, that's what
the
I did.
tinfoil person. You had to hold that so
Yes.
we could watch
Yeah, yeah.
TV.
So you enjoy TV, and I'm sitting there like I'm there. I'm there. Y'all, so you let me stay in the room.
We
So
let you stay in the
I
room,
was,
and we found use for you. You were the person that was supposed to
yeah,
hold that
yeah, yeah.
foil on the TV. Oh, brother, are you gonna get that phone? Or
You know what? I was hoping it's a short call. They're gone. They're gone. Hopefully they don't call
okay,
back. That's no. That's spam because nobody uses the house phone. People call the
you
cell
told
phone.
us about that
That's but
in that first.
that's old episode.
You told us about that day one that nobody has that number
Yeah,
except the spam people, the people that you don't
yeah, but
really
the
want to
spam
have your
people.
number. They have that
Right,
number.
right, right.
But
Yeah,
I remember the
spam people, and bill collectors. But okay, that's nothing.
and Bill. Okay, we'll talk about that in another episode. The bill
Yeah.
collectors, but
Okay.
but yeah, the tinfoil and the other thing that I think we glided over too quickly because it was huge. It was huge, and a lot of young people
Oh,
won't understand.
I'll take care
See,
of
brother, now
that. I'll take care of that. Okay, that's
are we
good.
safe?
We're safe. We're safe. They're not gonna come and repossess anything right now. We're good.
Okay. All right. So now brother has his phone under control.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, it's under control.
I was about to say that the thing that a lot of young people don't understand, like I know my grandchildren don't understand this, is that there was no remote control. We mentioned that, but that's to me that's really an important thing to note. There was no remote control. That if you wanted to change the channel, you had to go touch the TV and turn it off. But wait, but how many channels did we have though? It wasn't like
We
it wasn't
had
like
three. We had three channels. We had three
okay.
channels,
I think when I was
and
little
I
there
could
was two. You
three
had three.
channels. This was like we
Okay.
had like the TV channels. We had an ABC affiliate, NBC affiliate, and CBS affiliate. That was it.
Okay.
The three, whatever. 2, 12, and 8. I think I just remember those numbers. That because I was the family's remote, so I know
Yeah,
what
you
I
were
had to do.
you were so yeah, you had to actually touch the TV. That was a huge thing. So
Yeah.
I remember one of the best reasons to stay home from school or be sick, the joy of being sick was that you got to stay home and watch TV because,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you were,
Yeah.
as mom would say, oh, you're going to have to stay home today. I'm going to keep you home today. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
inside you're like laughing and smiling. It's like, okay, keep me home. I really would like to go to school. And then the minute she is like, yeah, I love Lucy. Yeah.
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I just had a flashback being at home during the day with Daddy. I'll be out of school. Daddy used to, I don't know if you knew this, but he used to take a baby Ruth and he would slice it up and have it like hors d'oeuvres. That's and like, man, I don't know if he was doing it because I was home, but we have a hors d'oeuvres. We're watching daytime because Daddy had to be at work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So
Uh-huh.
we would have a hors d'oeuvre. When I'd be home, we would have hors d'oeuvres watching soap operas. We would have hors
This oh
d'oeuvres.
oh you and Daddy.
And
Okay. Bye.
yeah, because like after you were gone, then I'm like maybe I don't know what grade I was in, but I would be out of school, whatever, and we would just hang out. And I would just follow him around, and
Yes.
we like I said, my daddy he was a different beast, but he enjoyed
Yes.
TV, and I remember, when I think of TV, I have to think of food because pimento cheese sandwiches. Something about my dad ate pimento cheese sandwiches.
Well,
watching TV.
while we have gone in that direction, we're going to get back to the television in a minute because my
Yeah,
daddy used to fix people's televisions and everything. But
yeah,
my daddy, I think it's I'm going to go ahead and say it's those. Our father was an alcoholic, and at least when
yeah,
I was growing up, he drank a lot. So a lot of the things he had kind of reformed a little bit by the time Justin, you came along. So
yeah.
you got a part of him that we were not able to get it when we were little
A
because he
different
was
side.
caught up in the alcohol. I don't ever remember seeing him without a cigarette in his hand ever. I don't remember.
No, no,
Do
you
you
didn't.
remember
You
ever
didn't.
seeing him without a
He
cigarette?
always, he always had a cigarette. And I think back when we were little, we probably smelled like cigarettes all the time. But he smoked.
Oh
he was
yeah, he was always had a cigarette, but he reformed himself. He brought himself back, um, and so by the time Justin came along, which
Mhm.
was 7 years after me, then he had, I'm going to say, a different father than not physically or
Yeah,
anything, but he had a different man than the man that who was
yeah,
my father, who I loved too, but I didn't
yeah.
understand him, and I didn't have that the good times with him that Justin had with him. So I just
But
felt it
that's
was
family.
important
That's family.
to
That's family. And I'm the youngest, so y'all saw things from a different age than I did.
yeah,
And that's
yes,
how that
yes,
worked.
yes,
I got a different. One understand. I got a different guy. I had a different guy than what you
yes.
had for many years.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to make this turn into the episode about Daddy because I think there's a whole episode we can do about Daddy because I really thought he was a genius. Uh, and
Yeah,
that was part of the reason I thought he drank was because of the frustration of being so talented and not having an outlet or being able to. But we'll get to that. Let me not go there
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
I've already
yeah,
gone there. Too
yeah.
late. So, but but when I think about the televisions though, I have to bring in the fact that the TVs were big. Like we never thought like these little skinny TVs that we have now. We had
Yeah,
these
we had
giant heavy.
big back TVs. Had to have a person to help you with, like a floor model TV, big hunk of furniture.
Yeah,
I remember
the console
the
they called it.
console, console,
It was
and
it was like the
that was
size of a giant love seat.
it was a
It
dresser.
had
Yeah, it
the
was
TV in the middle, and and then okay, because then we have one where you lift up the top, and then you had the record player in there, right? You had the record player,
yeah,
like
yeah,
you had the
yeah, yeah. The record
TV.
player.
Then if
Yeah,
you lift
yeah.
it up, it was a
That was some
radio and a record
that was some
player.
I Spy stuff. That was some I
We
Spy
were
stuff
living.
there. Yeah, that was some I
We were
Spy
living.
stuff.
So, and then,
Yeah,
okay, here's what I remember too. It's like, I don't know. I think it happened to us too, but the people's console TV would break. So then they'd go get a table model. Now you got the console, then you got the table model on top of the console. Because it
Yeah,
was such a
yeah.
huge piece of furniture, why not?
It was a piece of furniture. It was a perfect stand. So you just knew not you knew not to look at that television. You looked at the one on top.
You look
That's
at
the
the
one
one
you
at
enjoy.
So what were some of your favorite TV shows, brother?
Okay. For a lot of those years, I was a latchkey child for a lot of years because
Mm-hmm.
I went to Caldwell School, and so I would get out, and you guys at the time were probably at Lincoln and Dudley, and
Mm-hmm.
so I would get home. I would get home early, so I'm at the house maybe an hour and a half by myself. So I had my key around my neck. I would let myself in, and the television would babysit me. And I used to
Mm-hmm.
watch all these shows like I remember these dance party shows. Uh, the Three Stooges, the stuff that came on in the afternoon, Three
Wait.
Stooges and
When
Dance
the
Party.
dance party show, though, uh, like I remember American Bandstand, and then later on, of course, Soul Train. But
Yeah,
wasn't there an after school dance party show that
there was.
Greensboro
That's what I
had
can't.
at
That was
WFNY
the
TV?
Greensboro head. Yeah, yeah.
And now
WFY
I
head.
don't know
Yeah.
where but probably by the time you came along, y'all could go. I don't think we could go because
I knew people. I
I
knew
don't
people
know
that went. I knew people that went.
if yeah,
I knew people
but
that
I
went.
don't, could
But
black people go in the beginning? Could colored people
well,
in
well,
like
I'm gonna change it up real quick. There was a local
okay.
show here called the Old Rebel Show. Go figure, the Old
Ah,
Rebel Show.
I remember Rebel. Oh,
And
Rebel.
the old rebel, and he had this his sidekick was Peckles Pete, and I remember out of and my 10th birthday, I was on that show. Mama took me
You
to
know,
Mama made the arrangement, and she took me to the television station, and I'm there in the studio. I was the only black kid, but like it was Old Rebel and Peckles Pete, and and this is my first time even being in the studio. And I remember Old Rebel came up to all the kids was over here, and the parents one play. Old Rebel came over and said, "Do anybody have any money?" And no, he says, "Okay, but make sure you leave your bottles." He gave us Coke, the drink bottles. So we had a drink. I guess he wants to pay for the drinks, but
you
he
leave that
didn't tell the parents
deposit.
that he did leave
Leave
deposits. So he did that. He said, "Do y'all have any money?"
you know, I do now remember you. I had forgotten all about that till you mentioned it, that mama wanted you to go be on this TV show because
Yeah, yeah,
you loved Old
yeah.
Rebel so much she was going to make sure you got on the Old Rebel
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
That was
I love the
amazing.
Old Rebel. Go figure, man.
That was beautiful.
That was the local kids show.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Old Rebel show. And that was after me. That came after because my show
Yeah,
was Captain
yeah, yeah.
Kangaroo. My show was Captain Kangaroo
Captain Kangaroo. That was a
and
national show.
Howdy
Yep.
Doody, Howdy Doody, Howdy
Howdy
Doody.
Doody. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I one of the things that was my favorite show, if I had to choose, I loved all the comedies and I loved all variety shows. My favorite show, if I had to choose a show, is Ed Sullivan because he just had it all. He just had it all.
Yeah.
And I one of my memories that I'll never forget. They two stand out, and the first one I'm not even sure why, but it was when the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan show. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like people
I,
lost their
I,
mind, and I think I was one of them. I lost my mind. It's like,
yeah,
and
we
now
all
today
lost the
I'm
mind.
going, why did you lose your mind?
I didn't. I knew the Beatles was here, and I knew that everybody's losing their mind, and everybody. I got all the albums that you guys had and left. I got all the albums. I still every album, every 45. I got those
Okay,
things.
because we're gonna do the music episode. You know we're gonna do that.
We gonna do the yeah. I got everything.
but
I inherited everything y'all left at Mama's house.
but the
Yeah,
biggest memory I have of television is the first time the Supremes were on the Ed Sullivan show.
yeah,
I near about had a heart attack. You would have thought it was me going on it. I was like, he's so nervous for them. I don't know. I just thought, and I remember being out on the back porch saying, The Supremes gonna be on television. The Supremes gonna be on television tonight. But then I would do that. Didn't we do that though when colored people were on television? Period. I remember saying,
We
"Is somebody
man.
colored on TV? Is somebody
Man,
come? Is
man,
somebody colored?"
if we knew the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, anybody of color on TV, the
Yes,
streets were clear. The streets was clear because
yes,
we know
yes.
that hour TV show, we were gonna get our 4 minutes. That was we were
Oh
gonna get that
yeah,
4 minutes. And for me, what
yes.
did it for me was the Flip Wilson show. I had never
Okay,
seen people that look like me steadily on TV. Flip Wilson did it,
right.
man. He had everybody from Muhammad Ali. He had everybody on that show, and I was like, man,
Yes,
assignment. I love Flip
yes.
Wilson.
Now, okay, now I gotta ask you this because I don't like to run long because when they get too long, I don't think
Okay,
anybody actually watches the whole thing anyway. But uh, where were you when they first aired the original airing of Roots on TV? Where were you?
I
I don't
I was
know. Go
I
ahead.
remember I was in high school. I was like a
You were in
senior in
high
high
school.
school. High school, yeah. And then the miniseries came on, and that was quite a controversial time, man. Because like we had a few fights at Grimsley. We had a few. And I don't know if it was the fights was because of Roots, but Roots had just aired, and I think we were feeling some type of way because
Yeah.
we heard some stuff we never heard before.
Yeah,
You know,
it was it cut deep to actually just see
yeah,
it acted out on the screen. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know why I was in Greensboro, but I was in Greensboro when that aired, and
Okay,
I remember feeling so excited first of all because it seemed like every black person that was did we call people black or colored then? Anyway, every colored person that
black,
in
yeah.
Hollywood, in the music business, entertainment, if you were a celebrity of any type, you were in that movie playing
But
someone or something.
I do remember this when it was on. Mama wouldn't watch. She said, "I done seen that mess." She said, "I
Yeah,
done seen that mess."
it
And
was painful. It cut. Well, I'll tell
yeah,
you this, I watched that original airing. I don't know, I don't want to see it. It's I'm glad that I mean, it's a story that needs to be told, but I don't want to. I just find it it's hard to watch because it's painful. It's so
yeah,
painful to watch. Um, so I haven't watched it since that first airing. It was
yeah.
like
You,
okay, it's kind of
you
like
know,
I heard who is that Tina Turner uh I'll say that they did a Broadway show of her book and her life, and they were asking her, well, how come you don't come to watch? And she said, I lived it. I don't I don't want to
that's what
watch
mom
it.
said.
Why would I want to come
Yeah,
watch it? And so
yeah, yeah,
even though we
yeah.
were not uh,
And,
slaves, we were
and you,
close enough to know people, our grand. It was just painful thing to watch.
but I'm gonna tell you,
I thought it was
I have,
important, but it painful.
I have a memory of when Dr. King was assassinated. Like I said, I was
Hmm.
little. I was maybe 10, 11 years old, and I knew that he did a lot of stuff, tried to do a lot of stuff for our people. I remember that. But I don't know. I didn't know exactly who he was. I was young, and I remember that day he was assassinated. Mama was on the couch sleeping, getting ready to go to a shift, and I remember running in the room. I saw it on the news. I ran in the room. Mama woke her up and said, Mama, they killed Dr. King. They killed Dr. King." And she got up,
Hmm.
and she was saw the news. But I remember going to wake her up when I saw that on the news, man. Because I said I knew
Hmm.
I was a little guy, but I knew that he had value and he was
That
doing something for us, and
that
we loved him. And I remember doing that. I
yes,
learned a lot of
yes.
his history after his assassination, but I was in that era. That
Yeah,
was
well, he
wild.
was so. I remember him being so controversial that a lot of places, even in the black communities, didn't want him. I think it was Bennett College who was the first people in the area that would like invited him, yeah, Bennett to come in to speak. He was just considered very controversial at the time, you know. So Yeah, we didn't want to
Television.
go so somber here, but
Yeah, television,
it's just
television.
life. That's real life. Yeah.
I'm gonna fade it. I'm gonna fade it back in. I'm gonna fade it back in for a little while. At the time, you were gone, but it was a TV show that our kids loved the show. I love the show. Batman. When
Oh
Batman
my
came on the air,
goodness.
Batman come on the air, the streets were clear. And there was this other show that we loved that came on, the Green Hornet. And then one day they had a big special with Batman versus the Green Hornet. I remember being at the park and we knew the show was coming on about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever the show time was. The parks cleared out. Everybody went home to watch this show.
Hmm.
And you know
Okay,
that's what I was
those were
about. That was
after
like
me. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
those were shows that came after me. Oh, okay. Do
yeah.
you
But
remember what would happen on Saturday afternoon at noon? The
uh,
test pattern would come on the
the
TV.
every day that thing at 12 noon that test pattern, and it had this big thing downtown that was sound. The alert was sound, and the TV was
Yeah.
test pattern. And it's and like and it well they'll be on television. Television like I don't know if it blank out or just do something at noon. It's like TV would
Yeah,
blank out.
they would say if this is just a test, but it was supposed to be, I guess, if we were ever attacked or something, this is what they were going to do. And I always
Yeah.
wondered, well, if I was the bad guy, I would just attack at Saturday noon.
Right, right. And, they,
Because
and this is diverting from school from it too. But schools had fallout shelters.
oh
You would
well, we
go
used to practice
you,
getting under our desk.
you go to the local school and go to the fallout shelter, and but we were diverted from TV, but that was the reality.
Yeah, but
We had
those were
a
the things that were going on. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it was amazing that we all grew up with any kind of that we heard sanity, because
that was the
I
Cold
remember
War.
being
The Cold
scared.
War.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
scared of that Russia's always Russia was going to get us, and
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
had these enemies that would attack. They might attack us, and so we need to have fallout shelters and practice getting under your desk. I don't know what that was going to do, but we were
yeah,
practicing
yeah,
our desk,
yeah. And
and it was
everybody watched the spaceships. Wasn't the shuttles? It was the spaceships. They would go up and they would come down, and that was like a big TV thing. You don't remember that? When
But you
they said
must
every
have
time we
been,
ever,
you must have witnessed, because that was it was in '69 when the guys went to the moon,
yeah,
like
yeah,
they say.
yeah. But I
They
remember,
went to the
I don't
moon.
remember the year, but I remember like John Glenn. I remember he was the first person to circle the Earth, and that was like
Okay.
they kept that was on television. Like his launch was on television, and they showed when he came down and fell in the water. The capsule fell in the water, and that was like must see
Hmm.
TV. You had to watch that.
Hmm.
That was up there with Ed Sullivan. You had the space takeoffs, and that was a major part of TV. Now this when the shuttles go up, people don't watch. They say, well, it's almost a normal thing. I hate to say it's a
It's
special thing,
yeah,
but it's
it's
almost a normal thing. So you find out
yeah.
a ship went up yesterday. Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they don't make it like how they made. I mean, somebody going to the moon for the first time. That was like somebody. It was like, but now it's like when they just go up and around. It's like, okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, there's so many memories that I have that would just take us into left field where we don't want to go. The last thing at
Okay, left
night,
feels
remember,
good.
TV used to go off. TV used to go off at midnight.
The, the national anthem would play, and the
Nathan
TV would
Ashton would
shut down.
play, and the TV would
And
shut down.
yeah, and
Can you
I remember.
imagine?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take it to Goldsboro for a minute because they had a TV show in Goldsboro called Bozo the Clown. We couldn't get Bozo here,
I remember Bosa.
but we go to when our summers in Goldsboro. Bozo the Clown would come on, and I used to enjoy it because Granddaddy hooked me up with a cola and put peanuts in it. And I remember
Okay, I remember.
that's how I watched Bozo, and that was like man, that was me time. He would sit there, he just watched me being nutty, and I watched Bozo thinking about
But
things.
okay, speaking
And
of
I was the
that,
youngest. I was the
speaking of
youngest, so I
that,
saw a lot of different things.
I remember sometime. I remember Mama actually paying me a dime or something to watch the soap opera to get that because she couldn't be there. She didn't want to miss that episode. So it was like, watch
Yes,
this and tell me
yes,
what happened.
the guiding light.
And and the soap operas were all that. And hey, okay, so where were you when JR got shot?
When JR, I watched I was watching that episode. I watched it. I was hooked on. That was must see TV. Nighttime soap opera.
They say
Yeah,
that according, I believe at the time they were saying that even to this day, I believe that nobody, they had so many people tuning in to see who shot JR that they've never had that many people watching TV at
yeah,
once all
yeah.
over trying to see
That was
who.
much TV. This TV show was Dallas, and you had to
Dallas.
tune into Dallas. That was a Dallas, and they tried to have a couple of spin-offs, but they never had the effect that Dallas did.
Yes,
That
yes.
was must see TV. And as a kid, and I think this kind of molded my career. There was a TV show that used to come on called McHale's Navy. I don't know if you remember
Okay.
that show.
I remember the
Anyway,
name of it. I don't remember watching that
yeah,
though.
it was some wacky sailors and stuff like that, and how they did their thing, and eventually through some other influences too. That's how I wound up in the Navy because I said, man, those guys,
Really?
they was on
Okay.
ships, just on the ships, they was doing their thing. They had the parties. That was always scheming on something. But I said, man, I want to be in that club. Oh, speaking
Good
of
for
club, I'm gonna tell
her.
you what club. I'm gonna tell you what club you was in. I think well, I remember you got to have the ears, the Mickey Mouse
Ah,
Club. I got pictures of you guys with the ears on. I got a picture. So you
yes,
guys just tune in,
I wanted to
and I remember
be.
Joel putting on his ears.
Yes, I was in love with Annette Funicello. Is that her name? Funicello? Funicello?
What's that
Funicello?
now?
Annette. She she was one of the
Oh,
Musketeers.
Netflix channel. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Netflix
so I
channel.
was in
Yeah,
love with her,
yeah,
and yes, I had to have ears because she had them.
yeah,
And Mama bought us
yeah,
ears one day, and
yeah.
I'm going to insert that picture right here. But Mama bought us our ears. And where were
Yeah,
you?
that
You're
was.
not in the picture though.
I, I was so
You were
little.
always left
I didn't.
out.
I was left out. I was left out. I was left out. Cause I yeah, I was just so little, man.
Okay.
I was just lucky that y'all gave me the privilege to let me hang out with you guys. you
Yes,
know?
yeah, we did allow you to do that. Thank you. Yeah, we
Yeah,
felt bad for you.
yeah, right. But
So
I
we would
remember
let you
y'all,
come around every now and then. Yeah.
y'all had the ears, man. Y'all was I said, man, yeah, the Musketeers and those
Yes,
daggone
yes.
cartoons.
So, yeah, so there was Superman. That was one of my favorite shows too, Superman. I liked
Superman,
the
yeah.
Saturday morning lineup of cartoons. And anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
TV was great.
My guy. Saturday morning, my guy was this cat called Space Ghost. I don't know if you remember Space Ghost.
Yeah,
He was one of my
that's
guys.
after me. That's after me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that because I was Space Ghost and man,
Because we
Huckleberry
were
Hound,
Yogi Bear, not Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse was me.
Mighty
That was
Mouse,
my
come to
favorite.
save the
Yeah.
day. Yeah, Mighty
Yeah,
Mouse.
he came
Yeah,
to
yeah.
save the day.
It was
Yeah.
the era changed, but Saturday morning lineup. But I used to love those Saturday mornings. But now the Saturday mornings are all TV shows. They don't. It's not the same. Cause Saturday morning used to be you get a bowl of cereal and you sit there and you watch these cartoons with the stuff in your eyes and you just eat.
But yeah, I don't understand what they are feeding the kids today, this new stuff. I don't get that. I don't get because a lot of it seems like it's actually made for adults but
Yeah,
I mean it goes over the kids' heads, but it's a lot of innuendos in the cartoons that and in the TV shows that are for kids that to me are just it's not appropriate. So I don't know, I'll tell
yeah,
you what,
yeah.
and we'll start to wrap up, I guess, is
Okay.
because I said I'm gonna tell you what. No, I'm gonna tell you what. I don't have there. I live in a house with someone else, so there are TVs in the house where I live. I don't
Yeah.
have TV. I got rid of my TV around. It was shortly after 9/11. I don't have TV, and I never thought that day would come where I wouldn't have a TV. But I just as I got older, you know how we trust the news and we trust this.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like starting to I would be in an event, see something happen, and then I'd hear them report it on the news, and I'm thinking that's not what happened. And so less and less I lost trust in them, and so
I remember. I remember one time I visited New York, and I was with you. I was like, you was doing shows, so I would kind of roam the streets. And I remember
Hmm.
you didn't have a TV in your apartment. I remember I was out trying to find a television. Do you remember that? I was trying to find a television. I was like 13 years old. I was trying to find a television.
Oh, wait a minute. When you came to visit me in New York when you were young? No,
Yeah, when I
okay.
was
The
young.
reason I didn't have a television there is because someone had broken into the apartment and stole it. I was
Okay.
still into TV at that time.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't on purpose not have a TV till like 2005, 2004 in there. That's when I
Yeah.
decided I don't want TV. Oh, but that TV, I didn't have a TV when you came to visit me that time, but it's because someone had stole it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a New York thing. You got to understand.
This is New York thing. Yeah. Yeah. All we wants the TV.
I'm not. I can live without the TV, and I'm good with that. And
Yeah.
when I was growing
Hopefully,
up, go ahead.
I'm looking forward to an episode that I thought about that those times in New York's. Some of the people that you introduced me to, I got to actually hang out with some people, some Sesame Street people,
Yeah,
some
we'll
Broadway people.
drop some
Man, I got
names. Not drop some names. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll drop some
yeah,
names one
yeah,
day
yeah,
because you
yeah.
were like
People, yeah, 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 yeah. I
you were
got to play with
busy.
some, hang out. Yeah, hanging out with some people,
Yes.
hanging out with some names. Yeah, but that's another episode, man. But I enjoyed my trips up to your house, except you didn't have a TV.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that time, I mean, I don't have one now on purpose. At that time, it's because someone actually stole it from the apartment on
Yeah,
Avenue C in New York City back in the day. That's
yeah,
how we
yeah.
rolled. But
Yeah, we going sassy.
but you know, but yeah. So we'll do this again, brother.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
always
It was a
fun.
good
So
visit. This is fun.
we'll do
And
some,
all this is
yeah.
about all we doing here is just sharing our memories and hoping for folk you to have your memories. We go off track because we got a lot of memories together. And so we just go off track, but we try to stay on track. Today is about the television. Hope you learned a little bit about our television, but you see that we like each other. We
and
love each other. So
and we
you see
hope
that.
that it brought back some of your memories about the TV and about the good times, the bad times, and just memories that we need to keep alive and share with our family
Most memories.
members, especially the younger generations. So, with that said, brother, you got anything else you want to add before we wrap it up for today?
Just this episode, we tried to do television. That's it.
Peace. Okay. All right. We love you. Bye
All right.
bye.
Love you. Bye.